He wants us to be the same name of 2012. Same character, same lifestyle, same mistakes. New name is coming, but challenges will face you. I want to leave you with 2 challenges that you'll face as you leave this building. 2 challenges that all come back to character. And that's self and settle. Self and settle. What do I mean by self? What was the challenge of self? The personal advancement with little to no godly direction. Letting you decide what you does all the time. Having no guidance, no help, no advice, just going off of what you think is best, what you have grown to believe is best. And when that starts, a door slowly begins to open. And Satan rears his ugly head and gets in there in ways that we can't see because we're focused on self. Because it's only our eyes. We're in the box, if you will. In Hebrews 13, verse 5, it says, make sure that your character is free from the love of money. And we could put money, fame, attention, love from others, anything that really boosts the ego, that makes you feel really good about you. And see, the thing is, as well as we maybe could have been raised, as high as our morals may end up being, eventually, if there is no one to check our blind spots, we will corrupt ourselves. We will corrupt ourselves. An example of this, a sad one, and one that I don't mean to make fun of or anything, is Lance Armstrong. Man, during a certain number of years, was anyone's name more popular in the world of sports? Was anyone's character more beloved? Was anyone's challenge that was overcome more people paying more attention to it? No. Lance was incredible for all the stuff that he did, but he was his own man. And it was talked about a lot. He ran everything. He was on his own. And a lot of why that probably happened and why he was on his own is because of the stuff that's come out recently, which is that he cheated for all 7 of his Tour de France victories. That he took steroids or growth hormones, and that he lied for 15 years of that time, taking people down. You see, when we focus on self and we don't let anyone in, deceit can take a really strong root. Yes. A really strong root. And I don't put him up here to, badmouth him. I've made the same mistakes. I've been incredibly deceitful and tried to hide this image that I thought everyone saw and had because I wanted to look a certain way, and I didn't want to let people in because then I'd have to, air out the dirty laundry. Yeah. But man, what happens to your house when you keep dirty laundry and you don't wash it? It gets pretty nasty, and eventually no one wants to be around. And so when we just let self guide self, eventually it gets pretty nasty, and no one wants to be around, and we end up wondering why. When you let you direct you, you may never see you again. 15 years ago, if you told him that he'd be where he is now, he probably said, no way. No way. But when you let you direct you, you may never see you again. See, Satan is patient and purposeful, which is why every day he claws at your character, working to distract you from your devotion till you start to deceive and disguise. He tries to crush your courage till you deflect and defer. He will demoralize and dissect you in the hopes that you will cower and compromise. Don't let him win. Let other people in. You and I are terribly underqualified to run our lives. But God has the perfect perspective. Second challenge is settle. Don't settle. Don't settle for a lesser name. Don't settle for a lesser character just because it's gotten you this far. Don't settle. Don't settle for just showing up to church on Sundays or at midweek. Don't settle for periodic moments of honesty or openness. Don't settle for just being a Christian around Christians. Don't settle for, oh, I'll just do enough. I'll do whatever it takes to just get me there. I'll pray enough to feel like I'm above average. Don't settle. Don't measure yourself with other people. Measure yourself to the standard of God. He will never allow us to settle. And for anyone who has ever really cared about excelling in anything in life, you know that the worst thing you can do is settle. Because you start to slow down and growth eventually ends. And you limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. I mentioned my name being Nilson. My name has 2 definitions that I found. One is Celtic root. I didn't know that it had any definitions, but one is Celtic root and one is English. The English definition is crow, as in crows that steal corn. And the other definition is champion. I like that a whole lot better. But man, I am so tempted to settle for crow sometimes. What do crows do? They take shortcuts to get their food. They cheat. And it's so easy to take shortcuts sometimes. See, because to be a champion in anything, it takes hard work. It takes effort. It takes sacrifice. It lets someone train. It takes letting someone in to train you, to point out the weaknesses and listening to them. That's what it takes to be a champion. We have a sister on campus ministry. Her name is Kira, and her name either means trash. I asked her if I could share this. Or it means treasure. Again, she has a choice. We have a choice. Will we be champions? Will we be treasure? Will we be cheaters? People who take shortcuts? Or trash? We choose. Now, Satan wants you to be trash. And what he will do is he will tempt you with cheap tricks. He will tempt you with things that look to be great, but that you'll need a compromise to reach. Another example of this, a biblical example, is Esther. Now, this is a myrtle bush. Esther has another name, Hadassah, and her name either means myrtle bush or it means myrtle tree. It's a big difference, right? That's a huge difference. Now, to become a myrtle tree, the myrtle bush must fight through stony soil. It must fight through difficult terrain to become this. If we want to become this, we've got to fight through the obstacles. Not complain. It won't change the circumstances. You've got to fight through the obstacles. Will you be a myrtle bush or will you be a myrtle tree? What name are you choosing? What type of character are you settling for? You see, Peter faced the crisis, and he chose Lord. He was given a choice between two names, and he opted to fight. To fight tooth and nail for every inch of character needed to earn the name Peter. He put self aside and chose not to settle. What name? What's your name? And maybe you can say, oh, I don't know my name right now. But what's going to be your name later? In Revelation chapter 2, it says, to him who overcomes, I will give him a white stone and a new name written on the stone, which no one knows but he who receives it. You see, at the end of times, when it is all said and done, it will only matter if one person knows your name or not. Yeah, that's right. And he won't care about your credentials, but he will remember your character. He will remember your character. So what is your name? What is your name? Like I said, this comes from Genesis chapter 32, when God asks Jacob, what is your name? And Jacob wrestles with God all night, fighting tooth and nail, not letting go, not complaining. He never even complains when God touches his socket and takes his hip out of place. He fights tooth and nail, and the product of that is his name is changed to Israel, a name that would defy a nation. Now, he could have chosen to settle for Jacob, which meant followers. Or he could have chosen to fight, to wrestle, and earn Israel, which he ended up doing. The same choices before us. What's your name? What name will you read on that stone that God wants to give you when it's all said and done? What's your name? Whichever one